Tonight on the Nightly Review, thousands of North Dakotans have already made their selections for the June primary. North Dakota Senator Kevin Cramer rips a proposed corn processing plant in Grand Forks. And a benefit is planned for the mother of a young boy killed in a West Fargo shooting. Welcome to the Nightly Review. I'm Steve Hallstrom in for Tom Tucker. Our lead story tonight, over 18,000 votes have already been cast ahead of the June 14th primary election in North Dakota. Secretary of State Al Jagger says more than 3,200 absentee ballots and more than 15,000 vote-by-mail ballots have been returned. That means just over 43% of voters eligible to do so early in the state have cast their ballots. One note, if you typically turn in your ballot at the Cass County Courthouse, the secure drop box located outside the courthouse will be closed from 5 p.m. on June 13th through Election Day on June 14th. Residents are encouraged to bring any drop box items directly into the courthouse at this time. North Dakota Senator Kevin Cramer with strong statements today against a Chinese-based corn processing facility planned for Grand Forks. The city has given initial approval to the controversial project, which would be located within sight of the Grand Forks Air Force Base. The $790 million plant would process 25 million bushels of corn annually, but Cramer, speaking today on the Flag's What's on Your Mind program, says right now our country needs to stay away from anything planned by the Chinese government, and yes, that includes the Fufeng plant.
Yeah, absolutely it would, and I've been pretty clear about this. We need to do more to strategically decouple from China, and which is why I have dared suggest even a carbon border adjustment mechanism that we work with our allies to work against our adversaries.
The plant would be Fufeng's first facility in the United States. Governor Burgum has advocated for the plant. To hear the rest of the interview, just click the link in the description below. WDAY Radio reports that a fundraiser is being planned for the family of Lucia Garcia. The family reported her death yesterday after she and her 7-month-old son Dominique were shot outside West Fargo's Plaza Azteca restaurant on May 18th. Authorities say the baby's father was the shooter and died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Dominique is expected to make a full recovery. Family members are planning the event to cover funeral costs. It's scheduled for Sunday, June 12th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Church of St. Henry in Perham, Minnesota. Well, $5 gas in Minnesota is a distinct possibility. That, according to GasBuddy.com analyst Patrick DeHaan. This after prices jumped by 11 cents overnight to a record price of $4.50 a gallon. North Dakota is at $4.44. DeHaan says production is down across the country while summer driving demand is up, and all it will take is a hurricane or a refinery being knocked offline for prices to push $5. California has the highest average price in the nation at $6.29 a gallon. An East Grand Forks man has been found dead after an accident at a construction site in Grand Forks. The Grand Forks PD says just before 7:30 this morning, officers were called to the site just south of 2100 Empire Court for the report of an unattended death. Investigators say 54-year-old Gerald Schwan was working alone on the site and was pinned underneath a piece of heavy equipment. The death appears to be an accident. An update to a story we first brought you yesterday. We have now learned the identity of the man hit and killed in a crash along the off-ramp on I-94 Wednesday afternoon. The North Dakota Highway Patrol says 39-year-old Lucas Azure was the man killed. His Suburban was pulling a trailer and car, but he got out of the vehicle after pulling over on the shoulder to check the trailer. At that time, a vehicle driven by 41-year-old Shandy Cordner of Clitheroe, Minnesota, slammed into them. Azure was dead on arrival at Sanford Hospital. Cordner was arrested for felony possession of methamphetamine and was booked into the Cass County Jail. Troopers say additional charges are pending. KVRR-TV reports tonight that a North Dakota farmer who'd been jailed in Ukraine since November has been released from custody, yet still remains in the Eastern European country. Senator John Hoeven says work continues in regard to fair treatment and safety of Kurt Grosjean, who was arrested on charges he plotted to assassinate Ukraine's then Ag Minister Roman Lyshenko. Grosjean's family said the charges are false and aimed at silencing his claims of corruption in Ukraine. One of the big names at RibFest has pulled out. Scott Stapp of Creed will not perform, citing health concerns within his touring party. Johnny Home Band will now take the stage next Thursday at the Fargo Dome. The other performers include Granger Smith, Phil Vassar, and Firehouse. And the Minnesota Twins will be without 4 players for their series that starts tonight in Toronto. Canadian law prohibits anyone from entering the country without being vaccinated against COVID-19. 3 pitchers and starting outfielder Max Kepler will miss the trip and will not be paid. The 3-game absence will cost Kepler more than $100,000. In a closer look tonight, a feel-good story for a sunny Friday night. If you've driven through Moorhead by the Dairy Queen at 8th and Main, you may have seen a happy guy standing on the street corner with a sign. On one side it says, "You are loved," and on the other it says, "Hang in there." His name is Jay Dagny, and he made an appearance on Bonnie and Friends on WDAY radio yesterday. He says he goes there an hour or two a couple times a week and smiles and waves with his sign.
I've been pleasantly surprised by the positive feedback I've gotten from it. For me, it feels like a really small act, just sitting there with kind of a half crummy looking sign, but I like knowing that it's bringing the positivity I was aiming for.
It's not something most of us would do, but some recent experiences gave this Moorhead man the nudge.
A couple of weeks ago, I saw a man evangelizing on the street corner screaming, repent and all this, and it really just left a bad taste in my mouth. And I knew that what people needed, what I've experienced the most, is that love and joy. And I know that people need that peace, especially right now. People need to be reassured that someone loves them out there. And I just wanted to get that message across because I've had really, really dark days myself, and I know how much that little bit can go a long way to help.
If you'd like to hear the rest of the interview, just click on the link in the description below. Well, we know life is busy, but you don't want to miss the important things that are happening in your town. And every weeknight, we've got you covered. It's your nightly TV newscast whenever you want it. And what's better, you can subscribe so you never miss a show. Hit the bell button below to make sure that you don't miss the next episode. Put the kids to bed, put the day to bed, then catch up on what you've missed right here on the Nightly Review. It's been a nearly perfect day across the valley here, but Justin Storm is in to tell us that it may not last exactly this way for very long. Justin.
Thanks, Steve. We're looking at a pretty decent evening and overnight tonight. Temperatures after sunset will fall off into the 60s and then bottom out in the mid-40s overnight tonight under clear skies and light winds, so not nearly as chilly tonight. And then a great start to the weekend. A lot of sunshine for Saturday. Winds will switch into the northwest at 5 to 15, so light winds and highs around 74. A little cooler on Sunday, breezy with highs into the mid-60s. Get out and enjoy the next couple of days.
It could happen to you or someone you love. One moment, one diagnosis can change everything. Thankfully, there's a program that helps caring people uplift families through a crisis. Lend a Hand Up, raising financial help and hope through community benefits and online campaigns. A program that boosts generosity so gifts go further. Lend a Hand Up helps you help your neighbors. Learn more and give at lendahandup.org.
In tonight's one-on-one conversation, we're going to change our focus just a little bit and call it 3 Big Questions. We all know prices for gas, groceries, and just about everything else are higher than they've been in a long time, and that's also true at the bank. Kevin Jordry is the branch president in South Fargo at First International Bank and Trust. Earlier today, I asked him what his mortgage lenders are quoting for 30-year fixed-rate mortgages right now.
Where we're sitting at today and talking with our mortgage lenders is you're probably around that 5% range, give or take. So over the course of 5 months, 30-year fixed rate secondary market up about 1%. And when you look at 15 years, same comparison, January to March, first quarter 2022, consumer secondary market mortgage rates probably around that 3.5% range. And right now, those are in kind of that 4% to maybe low 4 range. So those have gone up about a half over the course of 5 months.
Question number 2, I asked him if the increase in interest rates for personal loans, mortgages, and business loans are causing fewer people to want to borrow.
Consumer loan requests for cars, boats, pickups, vehicles, things like that have actually remained pretty steady. And those rates have shifted up kind of in that 4 to 5% range. A year ago, they were probably in that 3 to 4 range. So that's, probably up about 1%. Hasn't really killed off demand or anything like that we've seen so far. On the mortgage side, and talking with our mortgage lenders, it hasn't been so much the interest rate increases that have slowed things down. It's more so the availability of product on the market. Really, there's very few resale homes for sale. So that it's lack of supply and inventory more so on the home side than it is a rate discussion at this point. Now, could that change at some point? Sure, it could. When you look at commercial, the one area I would tell you that we have seen some slowdown or some, I don't know if you want to call it pullback, or just when you get to that investor developer real estate on some of your larger multifamily projects, we have seen a few of those get shelved just because construction costs have gone up, supply chain issues, and you throw in an increase in interest rates, and all of a sudden some of those projects that did pencil out in cash flow 12, 18, 24 months ago, with construction cost increases mainly, some of those projects don't work today, and you got to put them on the shelf and wait till some of these construction costs come down.
And question number 3, if there is a bright side to the economic crunch in our part of the world, what might it be, Kevin?
When you look at everything going on both coasts, we still to some degree are pretty insulated with a good ag economy, and our business sector has gotten significantly more diverse over the last 10 to 20 years. So at least we have 4 universities in our city, arguably 4, several more smaller colleges and stuff. At least today, when those kids are coming out of school, there are at least options for them to look at, so we don't have to take all that talent and ship it out of state. We've got a pretty vibrant business community, a lot of entrepreneurs, and there's some opportunities for the young people coming out of college to stay right here at home. So I think, even though there's a lot of headwinds and stuff, I think we in general, where we live, things have been pretty stable for the most part, even through some of the other recessions, more so than other areas of the country. So I think, it's not all gloom and doom for us. I think it's going to be, hopefully we can stay a little more stable than the rest of the country is what I'm saying. So.
Jordary adds that if mortgage rates continue to rise, people might get nervous about another mortgage crisis like we had back in 2007 through 2009. But he says because underwriting standards are tougher and there are fewer homes on the market to push lenders to make bad loans, we likely won't see the kind of fallout we saw back then. Well, that's our report for tonight. Thanks for watching this edition of the Nightly Review. Tom is back on Monday. Good thing I've run out of suits to mix in. Have a great weekend, everybody. Take care.